Okay, so She-Hulk, she's Jennifer Walters, a lawyer, cousin to Bruce Banner, which is why he gave her a blood transfusion in an emergency after she was shot. As a result, She-Hulk was born.
Feels like somebody's lighting my fire.
Jen would quickly differentiate herself from Bruce, as while Bruce hated being a Hulk, she actually enjoyed being a Hulk, and all the perks that came with it. Or so we thought. See, writer Jason Aaron in a recent-ish issue of the Avengers wrote a scene where Jen not only said that she hated being the fun Hulk, but she would also never go back to that if she was ever given the chance. On one hand, Jason Aaron has a point. She-Hulk is a huge example of fan service in comic books, right up there with Power Girl. But on the other hand, he definitely has taken a few liberties with the character. Whereas previously she was well spoken, she was a lawyer and she continued to practice even while she looked, tall and green. But now she can't vocalize her thoughts. She's grunting and growling, like her cousin. So basically she's just a female Hulk. Okay, let's go in this with a little detail, right? A Distaff counterpart is a female counterpart to a male character. And unfortunately in comic books, most of these female characters are still in the shadow of their male character. Sure, they may be well developed and have great stories, but whenever you talk about them, somehow the male counterpart enters into the equation. You have Supergirl, who is Superman's cousin. Whenever you're talking about that Supergirl is Superman's cousin comes up, it's part of her character. Batgirl is heavily tied into Batman. X-23 is heavily tied into Wolverine. Carol Danvers was heavily tied into Mar-Vell, despite Mar-Vell being dead for so long. And the fact that she now is using the name Captain Marvel is probably more due to the fact that there is a suitable legacy character who I think Marvel think is a bankable character. And also Hawkgirl, while the TV show made her more popular than Hawkman, Hawkman is still the one who gets his own solo series, not Hawkgirl. So Distaff counterparts don't exactly have it easy. This whole thing started at the end of Civil War II, where Jennifer was put into a coma. She comes out of it and finds out that, her cousin was killed by one of her closest friends. The trauma of going through a coma and finding out all this happened, shifted her into a gray Hulk form. Which writer Mariko Tamaki said she wanted to explore the trauma of the character while also maintaining that Jennifer was a fun soul. See, She-Hulk's part of the Marvel Universe, shared continuity and all. And in this time in the Marvel Universe, Steve Rogers was turned into a Nazi, Thor was made unable to lift Mjolnir and thus was unworthy, the X-Men were dying, the Inhumans were the reason for them dying, War Machine was killed by Thanos, the Hulk was killed by Hawkeye, and got resurrected and killed multiple times afterwards, and Tony Stark was put into a coma by Carol Danvers. God, Civil War II sucked. Regardless of all that, She-Hulk is a very unique character, and I do believe that anything that, puts her back in the Hulk's shadow should definitely not be entertained. Which is why when I saw an announcement for ImmortalSheHulk, in which the article states that Jennifer will follow her cousin's footsteps, I wasn't very happy to see that, is what I'm trying to say. This is a bit disappointing to me, people, because whenever I think of Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk, I never think of her as following in her cousin's footsteps. She always forged her own path. And hey, she even got to have some fun along the way.